Sound is.
The Mediterranean diet's known for its health benefits and the simplicity of its ingredients, Nick, but there's one thing that I think most Greeks would agree sets it apart, and that's the extra virgin olive oil, isn't it?
It is, Tom, and growing up as a kid, that's all I knew oil was,
Yeah.
extra virgin olive oil. And if someone mentioned vegetable oil or anything else, I go, what's that? Never heard of it. Is that like olive oil? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Because we only knew olive oil as a kid growing up.
You're right, and all of those other types of oils, whether it be canola or vegetable or whatever the case is, it always came with that asterisk next to it. It's not good for you, right?
That's right, yeah. It was always considered unhealthy, but yeah, we grew up with it. That's all we knew. That was the odd thing up. And we even went to school. It was only olive oil. What do you mean there's another oil to use? That was the only one.
Yeah, true. Well, look, other than tourism, it's probably Greece's biggest export. It's part of the culture, and in many ways, olive oil is at least partially responsible for Greece or Athens' rise to empire, purely because civilizations like the Romans, the Egyptians, and others were willing to trade goods and wealth for Athenian olive oil. Nick, I mean, you can't really underestimate the importance of the olive as a source of food, fuel, and so much more, right?
Definitely not, Tom, and it's been around for centuries, as you said.
Well, thousands of years, even.
Yeah, exactly. Tens of thousands of years. I think it originated from Asia Minor, from what I read, around 8,000, 7,000 BC, something like that.
Yeah, right.
But how interesting was it? Even the Spartans used to use olive oil to lather themselves before battle or before exercise.
Yeah, multi-purpose, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Mate, we love it so much. We bathe in it.
Do you bathe in it?
It depends how many I've had to drink. I usually slobber down my shirt, if that counts.
Yeah.
I've always got olive oil stains on my t-shirt,
Yeah.
especially after a big night out, dipping the bread into the beautiful olive oil.
That is just the best part of every meal, isn't it?
It is, mate, it is. And the smell of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, we're big advocates of Greek olive oil here at Uzo Talk, obviously. There's nothing better than it from anywhere in the world. Plenty of brands that produce it in Greece, including Minos, Argolis, and many, many more. And look, if you've been listening to us recently, you'll know that I recently returned from Corfu, where I met with arguably one of Greece's premier producers of extra virgin olive oil, our good friend Spyros Dafnis from the Governor Olive Mill in Aios Matheos. Nick, this is going to be a very different episode of Uzo Talk, though, in that you obviously weren't there for the discussion, so you're hearing this for the first time too. So we're going to hear snippets of that discussion today. Are you ready?
Nearly ready.
Yeah.
I need a drink first.
Let's go for it. Stiniyamas Nikolaki.
Stiniyamas, my friend.
Good to be back here, doing this as always.
It's great to be back, mate.
Well, what are we drinking?
Well, I've actually got two bottles here next to me. One is the Lazarus Ouzo, made in Corfu. I guess this could be one of your favourites, but thanks to the girls from Greek Providor, as always, a great team out there. And the other bottle we got here is the Governor, which is extra virgin olive oil and from the same part of Greece.
I think it's only fair that, given that this discussion is sort of centres around Corfu, that we have the Lazaris as well as the Governor Greek olive oil. I mean, they're both really strong brands, aren't they?
They definitely are, tasting and in name.
You and I sat down just earlier and tried the Governor olive oil for the first time. What did you think of it?
Yeah, look, first word was wow. I had to sit on it for a bit, let it digest. You'd be doing it injustice if you added it to different types of food. You have to have it on its own with bread. I could taste the spiciness, the potency, a bit like drinking like alcohol as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. I could taste the fruitiness, but it was spicy as well.
Yeah, spiciness is the big thing that sort of came out of the discussion with Spyro. He actually pointed out, and we'll hear it in the discussion anyway, but he pointed out that there is an element of bitterness, but also spiciness that people associate usually with different types of olive oil, or maybe even lower quality to some degree. It's actually the opposite of that. When there's a level of bitterness in it, or that level of spiciness, generally it's a sign of a pretty good one. But look, we're going to start having a look at this brand. I think it's one of the true success stories for Greece over the last sort of decade or so, in that it's taken something existing from Greece, an existing resource in Corfu, and something that virtually everyone on the island does, including my family, creating their own olive oil, doing it in a way that is far more technologically advanced, doing it in a way that takes into consideration how other cultures have done it as well, and other producers around the world do it, taking those learnings and bringing them into an existing olive grove to produce a product that is, in many ways, one of the best in Greece.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. I'm actually really curious to hear his story. Like, after tasting it without hearing anything yet, I'm very curious. And as you know, we've done a little bit of reading about this and reading how important olive oil and olives in general are to Greece, you know, and then you mentioned earlier about the economy and so forth, but there's some interesting stats as well that came out of it as well. I didn't realise that Greece was the third largest olive producer in the world, behind Spain and Italy. But more importantly, out of the olives we produce, 80% of it turns into extra virgin olive oil.
Yeah.
As opposed to Spain, I think it was 34%. Italy was around 67%. So
very interesting.
It says a lot. And then speaking of extra virgin olive oil, we've got the governor here, one of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, let's dive into the discussion. Let's meet Spyro for the first time, because he's got his own stats to sort of share as well, you know, regarding Greece's production. Let's take a listen.
Tom, welcome Corfu. Welcome Greece, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Welcome in Agios Mateos, and of course welcome at the Dafnis family or the Governor's Olive Mill. Everybody who comes here in order to participate in a tour, in a tasting, to mill their olives or whatever, there is only one rule to participate on that. First of all, to put themselves in vacation mode. Secondly, because we are in Greece.
Of course.
Secondly, to feel like home. And I'm saying this because this place, for others, seems to be just a production line.
Yes.
For us, it is our second home. If you consider the place as a home, the place where you spend the most of the hours of the day, the creative hours of your life, the times that you inspire yourself and you can inspire others, this is exactly what we're doing here. So we're not just producing olive oil, we are trying to produce ideas, and we are trying our best to expand or export a great vision. And it's a great pleasure to have you today with us, and along with you, an entire community which I'm pretty sure that is so much connected with.
I can already feel the passion. It's fantastic, and with good reason, because Greek olive oil is very important in the scheme of olive oil globally, isn't it?
Greek olive oil is considered, first of all, the olive oil is considered as the national product of Greece.
Yes.
And it cannot go in a different way, because we the Greeks, we are the third country in quantity of olive oil production, after Spain and Italy, close to Italy with approximately 350,000 tons as a yearly production. Statistically, we are the first country in producing extra virgin olive oil, which is considered as the top class in terms of quality, with nearly the 80% of yearly production to be extra virgin. And these, believe me, are not Greek statistics. They are coming directly from the International Olive Council in Madrid. And, of course, proudly, we the Greeks, we are the champions in use, with approximately 16 liters per person per year, a record that
unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure that my family and your family here in Greece, in Corfu, has many times overcome. It means if you cut our veins here, except from blood, it comes olive oil. So we use it every day in every way you can imagine.
Very true.
It is connected with everyday's life of the local. I used to say, because my grandpa, Spyros as well, once told me when I was nearly 6-7 years old, one of the first times I remember myself being on the olive estate, that he told me, my son, the olive tree is a living symbol for Corfu and the Corfiots, for Greeks and Greece.
Yes.
Nearly 25 years passed, and now I'm realizing what's a big word it was.
Yes.
So yes, the olive tree is a living symbol for us, and if we have a great duty today, is that this great tradition, we have to make it even better, and we have to deliver it to the next generation. So the next generation of the Greeks and the Corfiots must be inspired about the olive oil production history, and must continue expanding our tradition to the entire world.
Well, Nick, obviously Spyro is very passionate, isn't he? What did you think of that?
Fantastic. Great little clip. Very passionate guy, and he's definitely a visionary. I like the way he said he's exploring other opportunities and some of the stats he threw out. So what I said initially was, I guess, correct, which is good. Thank you for that, Spyro.
Yep, you've done your homework, obviously.
Yeah.
I was so proud when I was listening back to that. Like, yeah, he was right.
Yeah, whew, that's a good relief. Actually, what about the 16 litres per person per year?
Yeah, that's just crazy, isn't it?
What did he say? If you slit your vein, olive oil will come out.
Yeah.
How funny is that?
I think it's true. I mean, look, we put it in virtually all of our foods. I can't think of anything. Well, I mean, obviously there are some desserts that obviously you wouldn't use olive oil in, but even in some of those, they're still using extra virgin olive oil to make some of these dishes.
Oh, exactly. Even just for a frying pan, you want to put a little bit of lather. It's always olive oil. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it.
What about, you said it's a living symbol as well. That was quite interesting. And as we know, the olive branch is considered a symbol of peace as well.
Yeah, you're quite right. It is a symbol in many ways. Not just that, it's obviously become a symbol over the centuries that has come to signify Greece. I mean, they even used it in the 2004 Olympics as part of their official logo as well. It permeates all of Greek society, doesn't it?
Definitely does. And that's the thing. And the more you think about it, yeah, it is. It's all part of our life, our heritage, our society.
Well, look, the discussion goes on. I mean, Spyro's going to talk about the importance of olive oil to Greece and to the world as a product, the importance to health, and the connection and the responsibility that producers over there feel. So let's go back and take a look.
Obviously, the olive is very important to Corfu in particular, and in Greece. Why is it particularly important for Corfu? I mean, I know my family makes their own olive oil as well. Everyone makes the different types of qualities of olive oil. What is it that's unique to Corfu about olives?
Okay, I'm going a little bit opposite. I'm going far away from Corfu. Because life gives very important examples why a few things are very great importance or their interest. Example number one, the war at the moment in Ukraine.
Yes.
Except from the absolutely difficult situation that the people there are living and cannot be described and connected with anything else. Unfortunately, this very bad situation created again a conversation globally about the missing of food. So again, the importance of food generally, came back for the humans. In my opinion, it doesn't matter wherever we, the humans, go further. It doesn't matter where the technological progress is going to move. We, the humans, we will always return back to our food because our food is our fuel. So this is
yes.
very clear. Second issue, the pandemic. Pandemic gave a great example, unfortunately, that health should not consider as an extra expense, but as the most important investment in life.
100%.
And health is passing, of course, through the mentality, the exercise, but also through food. So we have food and we have health.
Yes.
What is olive oil? The olive oil is considered as one of the healthiest foods globally.
Yep.
It is considered as the base of Mediterranean diet. It is considered as the base of the Greek and Corfu diet, and of course the healthiest ingredient of one of the healthiest diets. Not from now, but since the ancient period. So our island has the bless to have nearly 4.5 million olive trees. Yep. 4.5 million olive trees, Tom, is like the half of the Greek population in olive tree numbers, and only
just on the
small and teeny island like Corfu.
Yes.
So we're talking about the 60 to 70% of green plantation of the island. 60 to 70% of everything green we can see around us are olive trees with such an important impact on the environment and the nature. We're talking about a unique variety.
Yes.
A unique variety that cannot be found nowhere else in Greece, nowhere else in the world. This variety, we call it Lianolia of Corfu, and it's a great time to make a small Greek language study on those who listen us. because except from Kalimera, Kalispera,
Yes.
Yama, Sopa, etc., let us introduce them to some other words. So, Iano in Greek and Corfu means the small enero,
Yes.
the thin one. And the Lia means olive. The fruit as well as the tree. So Lia is the small enero olives, and it takes the name from the shape of the fruits that these trees are producing. And
Sure.
the third unique characteristic has to do with the age. We are talking about one of the oldest olive groves, at least in Greece, because the majority of the trees here are estimated between 300 to 500 years old.
And that's just here.
Yes, the period when Corfu was under Venetian occupation.
Yes.
So Venetians brought a new variety here. Sometimes they force and sometimes they pay a kind of pension on the locals in order to plant them everywhere on the ground or to craft them into the already wild olive trees of Corfu. And by the way, that was exactly the time period when Corfu suddenly transformed from a vineyard island into an olive grove island like what we can see nowadays. These are not the oldest, and I'm closing this here, because the oldest trees in Corfu today are counting more than 1,000, 1,500 years of life. We're talking about a unique type of olive forest that at the same time is considered as a true living natural monument. And even for us, that we were born and grow up here, anytime we are going for harvesting in front of these trees, we feel incredible feeling, realizing how many persons and how many generations before of us did exactly the same thing to the same tree, and how many times this tree gives back again and again and again with generosity. It's on fruits like a contract between humans and nature. It's not only a part of the past. We feel like part of a great tradition that goes from the past to the present, and as I said before, our duty is to deliver and to take it from the present to the future. So the olive tree is everything here. It's part of the culture, the history, the tradition, the economy. It offers the main product of gastronomy, and before tourism industry came here, and tourism industry today is the main source of income, for many centuries it was the only fortune, the only value, and the only source of income that the locals had. Anything our grandpas had was up to the productivity of these trees. And outside here, outside the modern production line, we have the small museum area.
Yes.
In order to present the world, of course, but also to remember ourselves where we came from. Because as the trees, as the branches of the trees cannot survive without their own roots, we cannot survive without remembering where we came from.
Nick, one thing really stood out for me in that clip. Having a think about harvesting trees that people's ancestors 1,000 to 1,500 years ago were harvesting from exactly the same tree. Can you believe that?
That's mind-boggling. One tree, and how many ancestors of this individual who's picking them today would have been doing the same thing. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
There's so much history just from one tree. And like Spyro, what a champion guy.
He's a gun, mate.
Oh, I love this guy. Just listening to him speak.
He's really passionate, obviously, about this. I mean, it's ingrained in his family. There's no doubt that the olive and olive oil culture in Greece is so well ingrained. Spyro is a living example and a young example of how important it actually is and where that industry is taking itself.
You couldn't have said it better, Tom. He's taking this to the next level. Like, he's just very philosophical. Like, what about the 3 points he gave us right at the beginning on that spiel? Humans always return to their food, you know? And then he talked about the health benefits, important investment in life. And then he went on about, well, the healthiest food in the world is olive oil, and it's one of the bases of the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
Very philosophical. And everything he says, it's all... sounds like a philosopher.
Yeah.
You should be a politician, this guy. I love him.
Well, funnily enough, I actually said that to him. I think he's too humble to admit that he could probably do it. He's certainly an example of someone who's doing quite well and is very engaged.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is he's passionate and he loves it, and you can hear it in his voice. And for him to stop his day and sit there and talk to you about this, you know, that's why we love it, you know.
And they were busy that day as well. When I arrived, they actually had a German tour group coming through.
Oh, right.
And it was very impressive, actually. You know, the whole bunch of people there going through, sampling the olives and looking at the old mill that Spyro just referred to in the clip, which is basically the historical aspect of it. And I mean, there's a reason why he's so passionate about this. Obviously, number one, it's his business, but and number two, it's so ingrained in the Greek culture, but it's also really ingrained in his own family. I think he said it's like the 6th generation of his family that is harvesting olives and making olive oil.
Yeah, and how fascinating was it? He said 4.5 million trees in Corfu alone. Now, it's not a very big island, but it's mind-boggling. But let's a quick look on the internet. There's 132 million trees, olive trees in Greece.
That's unbelievable.
And we see Greece is, 2/3 of the size of New South Wales. It's not even the size of New South Wales.
Yeah.
They've got 132 million trees.
Yeah.
And that was done in 2015, that census. And out of that, the other interesting fact I can just read now is 60% of the arid land in Greece is filled with olive trees.
Wow.
60% of the arid land.
I mean, that says so much about how resilient that particular tree is as well, and why, you can get fuel out of it. You can get, you obviously get, you get fuel out of it. You can get food out of it. There's so much that tree can offer. It speaks to, the resilience of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and how valuable it is to the Greeks all these years.
The Dafnis family is invested in this. It's part of what they do, which I think he's going to talk about in the next clip.
Me and George, my brother, we belong at the 6th generation of the Dafnis family. Keep following the tradition of producing olive oil. The first olive press of my family was brought here by my grandpa's grandpa, Dafnis Alexandros, by the end of beginning of 20th century. It was not located exactly here, but it was located in the center of Agios Mateos. You will allow me as a Corfian and as a local to say a few good words about my village.
Of course.
So Agios Mateos,
it's a beautiful village, I might add.
Yes, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest village on Corfu.
And we're neighbours. I have to add. I'm from not far from here.
Yes, of course. We are what we call in Greek Sibetheri.
That's right.
Okay, so from Kato Garounas.
Yeah.
And it's a place that even today, because of Koresion Lagoon and Halikunas Beach, it's protected by Natura 2000, so there are no big hotel buildings allowed here. It's mainly a villa holiday resort and mainly an agriculture zone.
Sure.
So from the past, it has a very big tradition in olive oil production. My family has. I can recognize it easily because I was born in an olive family. I remember since I was a very small boy, of course, the weekends, except from the school, during the whole week, the weekends I spent on the estate for the olive harvesting. I spent on the olive mill. The conversations on the family with the Greeks.
Yep.
We love the big tables at night with good wine and ouzo for the oldest. With the youngest, we just watching everybody else discussing about Sodia, about the new harvest campaign, about the productivity of the trees, about the issues, etc. It was, I would say, not only part of our income, and in our days, we do it with all our heart and all our passion, and what we, the Greeks, we love to say with meraki.
Yes.
But for them, in the past, for my grandpas and my grandmas' age and times, it was matter of living. And let me tell you another story that I can never forget. Something I'm gonna try my best to pass it to my kids, my children. It is true that when, on the middle of 80s, my family decided to move from the central part of Agios Mateos into this location here, and for reasons of productivity and for reasons of quality, they decided to stop renovating the old olive press with the milestones and pressing machines, but to bring here the first modern and fully automatic olive oil production line. I many times remember my grandpa and my grandma, unfortunately she passed away, to tell me that in order to overcome the loan with margin nearly 18 or 19% in this period.
Jeez.
And in order to find the money to start, for about 10 years, they did incredible sacrifices that for all of us today seems something that is very far and it's very, very difficult, but they had a very strong vision. It was not only matter of income. They have a vision to continue, to create something new, to deliver to their kids and their grandchildren something better.
Yes.
On these sacrifices we are standing. They're worth $1 million. That's why at the wall of our pride and responsibility we call the Wall of Fame, the place where the awards of
yes.
the Governor Olive Oil is standing at the moment. On the highest point we have, as Greeks, our grandma, Sophia, because she was also wise, and we believe that probably she must be very proud for us.
Surely.
In our days. So this is how we, the Greeks, we feel around olive oil. It's not just an industry.
It's family, isn't it?
It's family, yes.
Yeah.
It's
unbelievable.
It's another emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's our families, and of course, it is the families that are using our products.
Yes.
We mainly say that we produce and offer something that we can offer first of all to our children, and this is very, very important. As I said before, the base where in 2010 we did a big turn.
Yes.
Because before
an unbelievable time.
Yeah, before 2010 nobody knew us.
Yeah.
Until 2010 this mill was the Dafnis family olive mill. Now it is the Governor's olive mill.
Yeah.
Many people believe, or might believe, that probably we started only as a trade project, but it was not like that.
Yeah.
We face serious problems in Corfu, and it will not be a problem for us to say what the rest of the world knew before 2010, that the last 40 years the island of Corfu was well known at least as Greece's worst olive oil production region. Lots of people, even the Greeks, didn't know that the island of Corfu was producing olive oil, and those who knew that, they knew that, oh my God, it's the worst olive oil in the world. Now, the question is why this happened. If before 2010 you asked a local why the island of Corfu is not producing high quality, 90% they will answer you that the problem has to do with the variety, the ground ingredients, or the microclimate. Well, Tom, it is truth that when we the humans make the mistake, we usually throw the responsibility everywhere else except from the only truth, which is ourselves.
Sure.
What's the problem here? The thing is that everybody owns very, very small plots of lands. And the entire Corfu production the last 40 years was all sold in bulk condition, mainly to third countries like Italy or Spain. I have absolutely no problem with them. I have friends, relatives, partners, they are excellent producers, but it's all about business. They didn't care about the quality of the Corfu olive oil, they were demanding the quantity. So if you consider this, if you consider that they were paying with Italian liretta and the Corfus were paid in Greek drachma, if you consider that the pensions from EU pay the producers not with a standard of quality, but with a standard of quantity, you easily realize that here everybody wanted to produce as much as more olive oil as possible in order to feed the families, and the quality comes next. But this had a terrible effect. And when Greece enters Eurocoin and the Greek drachma was stabilized with Italian liretta, the price in bulk condition immediately fall down. And when after 2 years the pensions, that in my opinion it was for the good that it was cutted on this way, unfortunately from 2000 until 2010 nearly 50 to 60% of Corfu olive grove totally abandoned, totally non-farmed at all.
Wow.
And if you consider this as a problem, let me tell you that unfortunately the main problem, or the crime, started after 2010 when, due to the financial crisis, some took advantage of the abandoned olive trees and start chopping to the ground over centenarian trees only for some woods. That was exactly the time when we saw around us a natural treasure getting lost, a production procedure with expiry date, and an entire over-centenarian tradition ready to be over.
Wow.
And exactly for that reason, we thought that this is the time that we have to make a big turn by setting up 3 main goals. The first, Tom, was to somehow break a negative tradition about Corfu and instead of it to create a new one. What today we call the brand new oleo culture of our generation. Because, tradition is something that sometimes has a positive, sometimes has a negative fact in front. Sometimes you heritate and you continue it as it is. Sometimes you heritate and if it does not fulfill your heart and your soul, you try hard and change it. The second has to do with the product. We wanted to identify an exceptional extra virgin olive oil from the local variety and introduce it to the world because we were born in a place producing olive oil, but we didn't knew how an extra virgin olive oil from Llanolia variety tastes like. And the third and most important at all, it was to do anything possible in order to convince everybody around us that first of all, there are always alternatives, and secondly that whenever you respect nature, nature always rewards you back. And this is a lesson that starts even from the youngest generation. And because as a young man in 2010, you hear it many times, you hear it from the oldest to the youngest, the blame that the oldest are not interested in olive oil production, they are not looking after their olive trees, they are just saying, this is the half of the truth. The other half is that what was delivered to us as options, it was not something that it could motivate a young man not to earn money, but to become creative and to expand to the rest of the world. And for that reason, in 2016, we started the Corfu Olive Tours project, but not with visitors and tourists, but with local schools and young students.
Wow, okay.
Because we believe a lot that the new generation is the next community.
It feels as though there's a level of responsibility that Spyro and his family feel to not just improve the reputation of Greek and Corfu olive oil, but also to educate the next generation within the country and within the island as an investment for the future.
Yeah, well said. I found it quite interesting when he said 50 to 60% of the olives in Corfu were left unattended.
It's unbelievable.
It is, and that's where I guess it was part of his DNA, his ancestors. We need to do something about this. And like he just said, they're educating the next generation of school kids. Oh, this is your future. This is what our ancestors used to do.
I think it's important to remember the time period as well, because the turning point is around 2010. That's around the time where the Greek economic crisis started. The other thing that sort of sticks out for me is what we inherited essentially wasn't enough to inspire a young man to be able to go out and not even to make money, but also in general to inspire. I mean, it's a real product of the time, isn't it? You almost question whether a brand like this or the governor would exist had the Greek economic crisis not happened. Out of some of the most difficult situations, creativeness and good ideas come, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Well, look at this podcast, Tom. Hey?
Actually, yeah.
Hey?
That was a good idea.
Yeah, it was. We came out of COVID, out of nothing. Yeah, no, look, I love it. Even he always used the word passion, and he said meraki.
Meraki, yeah.
Yeah, what a word, doing something with soul, creativity, and love.
Yeah.
How good's that? Again, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about that.
Yeah.
Again, it was just about putting your soul into something. Like you said, it's their ancestors, 6 generations of their people farmed these particular olive trees for so long. And for him to look back and when he said there was 50, 60% of them unattended and just left to rot, he had a responsibility for his people, for his community. He goes, respect nature and you will be rewarded by nature. How's that for a line?
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah, definitely. And look, they are rewarded. And not only is he rewarded, we're rewarded.
Yeah.
I don't think the listeners can see what we're doing here, but I think we're not topping up our glasses with ouzo, we're topping it up with the governor olive oil. It's that good.
While we've been listening back to this, we've been refilling the dish and just going to town on it with bread, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Lazarus ouzo, you're a back seat to this. episode.
It takes a lot for us to turn down the ouzo or the tsipuro, doesn't it?
It does. I'm loving this stuff.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Well, what you'll find as well as the conversation goes on, I mean, you mentioned there that it wasn't done for money. I think that comes through in the next few clips as well, in the sense that in order for the governor to get to where they've gotten to now, they actually took quite a big gamble, for lack of a better expression, pissing off their existing customers or their producers who are bringing their olives to them for milling, which is the way that most Greeks mill their olive oil over there. You have producers who obviously have their own olives, who take them in turn to millers who do it for them. What you'll find over the coming clips as well is that relationship sort of started to change. Let's take a listen.
It sounds a lot like, as Corfians here, we just didn't know what we had.
No.
It's a golden vein, literally a golden vein.
Yes, it is.
And we just didn't understand the value of it. Selling it in bulk to foreign companies, foreign countries, whatever the case might be. Has that mentality started to change across the island and perhaps across Greece, or is it still a bit of a learning curve, do you feel, here?
What made our ancestors to travel all over the world with only one-way ticket was the need to survive, the need to overcome their problems and change. So if you ask me, I will tell you that it is very bad when you are facing difficult financial situations, but at the same time is exactly the best condition to make people think alternatively in order to survive and in order to overcome their problems and think in a positive way.
And think creatively.
And think creative, exactly. I wouldn't say that the entire production line on the island changed completely, but something very important, yes, it has changed. Before 2010, we used to say between us, no, we can't. Now we say, yes, we can.
Yeah. Αυτό δεν γίνεται.
Yeah,
it's something that's very that's very
and of
toxic
course,
for us.
Of course, and except from that, because this is something that you can understand. It's, in my opinion, it's the base and it's very important. But next, the way to success, according to my very small experience, is only one: hard work, and hard work.
Yeah.
Because even if you heritate the best estate with great soil, anything you can throw inside, it can be creative and become great. But if you don't work on this soil, if you don't dig it, if you will never get the fruits.
Reap the benefits.
Get the benefits. So yes, nobody goes from alpha to omega
straight away.
But the bad thing is to become stable. No, the island of Corfu is not stable anymore. Greece is not stable anymore. I have personal experience that throughout this very difficult situation, there's lots of new efforts coming up, and this is very good result. From the very beginning, we didn't hide ourselves. We tried to share our experience as much as we can, and now we can see that this works. You know, olive oil, we call it product of high responsibility because we are producing with high responsibility. And I believe that throughout the next decades, it could definitely become also a reason to visit.
Yes.
We are Greeks. We are somehow, we cannot move from that. In our entire life, we should be proud about where we were, what we were in the past. Now, we should become also proud about what we are at the moment and what we are doing at the moment. And these parts passes from the arts, from sports, but also from production.
Absolutely.
Our products should be our ambassadors to the world, and it is our ambassadors. And therefore, when we started the Governor's project, we name it the Governor, and many people ask us, even they were, why?
That was going to be my next question. Why the Governor?
We name it the Governor, as we say proudly in the back of our label, in honor of the first governor of free and independent independent Greece, which was a Corfu Count aristocrat, Ioannis Kapodistrias.
Yes.
Ioannis Kapodistrias,
Who is also on the logo.
yes, of course, symbolizes a new start and a new beginning for the Greeks after almost 400 years of Ottoman occupation and the heroic Greek Revolution. Offered his entire life in duty of the country. And in 2010, under not only a very difficult situation in terms of financial point of view, but it was a very bad situation in terms of social words, of social opinions. Many people used to say in 2010, oh, we were desperate, we fall, we are in a crack, we destroyed, and there is no future. There will always be a future when you should be inspired that the next day is here and we have to work for that. So in a time period that we need again our symbols and strong symbolizations, we name it the governor in order to symbolize a new start and a new beginning of the Corfu and Greek olive oil, a natural product which is produced for hundreds of years, but it was the time to bring it into a new era. And also for another reason, because the governor as a product has three unique characteristics. The first is that it became the first single variety olive oil from Lianolia of Corfu in the global market. Today exported more than 80%, more than 25 different countries, between them Australia as well.
Yes.
So we're extremely proud about that. So
thanks to our sponsors as well at the Greek Providor for helping to bring that in. Because honestly, I was trying to find it years ago and couldn't find it until the girls at the Greek Providor brought it in. Just a little side note there. Hi, girls.
So this is the first thing. It became the first awarded Corfu, and at the moment one of the most awarded Greek olive oil brands in premium category, with nearly 65 international awards in taste, quality and design.
Unbelievable.
2 times awarded as the best Greek olive oil brand, 3 times as the best extra virgin olive oil from Ionian Islands. And also in international competitions such as New York, Los Angeles, London, Israel, Athena, all of Japan, China, Argentina, etc., Italy. And the third and most important characteristic, the reason why the governor is chosen to be used for, has to do with health.
Yes.
So in 2013, it became the first health claim olive oil in the world, the first olive oil certified for its health promote abilities due to the extremely high concentration of phenols or polyphenols, which are strong natural ingredients, both of them with health improve abilities. And due to this characteristic, the last 6 years we are the olive oil with the most participations in scientific research in Greece, but also in United States. So for this first abilities and importance, we name it the governor, again for symbolic reasons, in order to symbolize always that we will be one step in front. We will try our best to be one step in front of our times.
There's obviously a lot to unpack there, Nick, but I mean, the notion of naming this olive oil after such an important Greek historical figure. I mean, I'm not sure how much you know about Ioannis Kapodistrias, but on the island, he's obviously very well known. The music university on the island is named after him. The airport's named after him. You have the olive oil named after him as well. It makes sense that this new dawn of Greek and Corfu olive oil would be named after someone like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like the way you said that. New start, new beginning. The first Greek Prime Minister. So this was after the War of Independence.
Correct, yeah.
He was the first Prime Minister, yeah.
Or governor, as they were called then, obviously, but effectively the first Prime Minister, President, whatever, however you'd like to see it. But
yeah, very historical figure, and it's only fitting the olive oil is named after him.
A lot to unpack, but the health benefits of this olive oil. I think he said the first olive oil awarded for its health benefits. Can you believe that? That there's a product out there at the moment, as simple as olive oil, that boasts health benefits, the likes of which he's referring to here.
Yeah, you mentioned 2013. It got certified as a health benefit for human consumption.
Yeah.
I guess that counteracts the ouzo we have, do you think? Does it balance it out for us?
You and I would have to have a lot of olive oil to counteract that.
Spyro, ship some over.
Yeah, I reckon.
Or should we say Greek Providore?
We're going to look like Keith Richards soon. We're going to be embalmed.
Yeah, no, interesting. Yeah, look, it's like a history lesson as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's healthy for us. We're getting a history lesson out of it as well. I like the fact that he said it's hard work. Nothing was easy. He said hard work, hard work, hard work. Repeated it 3 times.
Yeah.
And look, 25 countries around the world, and we're one of them to benefit from it.
Yeah.
So thank you, Spyro.
Part of the reason why I think the governor has done so well in the classes that it's in is down to branding. And look, I mean, I'm a little bit biased because I'm a, comms, marketing and brand person, but, it plays such a huge role and it influences so many decisions that consumers make when it comes to purchasing products and whatnot. You've seen the bottle here for the first time today. What's your initial thought about it? Because the first time I saw it, I thought, this is bloody perfume. And I think that's what I said to him.
It is. Oh, it's a great looking bottle. It could be aftershave. Maybe we should put it on.
Yeah.
Hey? White bottle, nice wooden lid. Is it cork?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
But I mean, it looks like a premium product, doesn't it?
It is, just like our show, Tom. No, it does. It does. If you saw it for the first time, you're thinking, nah, this isn't olive oil. But when you look at it closely and the great logo on it, even the back, I've just noticed as well, every bottle is labelled with a number on it.
Yep.
So we've got number 6,755 out of a possible 12,000.
There you go. We're going to talk briefly about the branding and the marketing side of things with Spyro now. Let's have a look.
Talk to me a little bit about this bottle, these 2 bottles here, because the first thing that comes to mind when I first saw them was, this looks like it's perfume.
Yeah.
It looks like a premium product. Was that something that you decided by design to make sure that it elevated the product to begin with, or how did this approach come about?
All the previous decades, Greece was producing excellent products in terms of quality, but unfortunately, Greeks didn't have the ability to connect these products with the rest of the world. I mean, the products inside were great, but the vision, how they were looking, they look like, was not something on the average of the international standards. So from the very beginning, we thought that this would be, as I said before, an ambassador of the Corfu and Greek olive oil, and that means it needs to travel abroad. So one mistake that we Greeks make the most of the times.
I know where this is going.
between the many mistakes we are doing it, but okay, let us overcome this. It is that we are watching our world only through our eyes. It is important to watch our world through the eyes of the rest of the world. So how Greece, how Corfu looks like outside.
It's branding, basically. Not so much branding, what people think of.
Yes, exactly. It's branding. Of course, on this part, we feel very lucky because we also collaborate with one of the greatest, I would say, branding offices of Greece, with Dusk Branding in Athens, and personally with Demosthenis Brousalis.
It's so important. It's so important.
These guys, and personally Demosthenis, all our ideas, all our philosophy, all our vision and dreams, turn it into the bottles that you have in front of you. The customers in the rest of the world abroad, they need also to find a chance to explore the product inside. Nobody knows us. I mean, we are exporting in 25 different countries, but at the same time, we are making a great effort in order to expand our products to the rest of the world. So, the same time that we are selling a product, it's the same time a lesson around the characteristics of Corfu and Greek olive oil. So, somebody who comes and finds these products on the shelf, first of all, and I'm very happy about that, as you said before, you mentioned, they are attractive.
Yes.
It means that in a big mosaic of products, being attractive, it means that somebody goes directly.
It's half the battle.
It's half. And then the product has to speak in about 10 or 15 seconds about its quality and details. And all of these details are just behind the brand. This is the half. The other half, of course, is the product inside, which is even more important, because if there is a difficulty to open a market once, in order to keep this market, it's a difficulty 2, 3, or 4 times more. And one of our greatest values here and our red lines is that we offer only what we produce, and we produce ourselves what we offer after completing a very strict harvesting and production schedule, because you can easily realize that in order to come up in a product that is been awarded for 7 years in a row, that became the first health claim olive oil in the world, achieving a world record in 2016, participating in international researches. And
Sorry, what was the world record?
2,366 milligram per kilo of total phenolic compounds.
Right, okay.
While at the same time the European clarification, the EFSA, speaks about 250 milligram per kilo. So that an olive oil, and this is not the average of extra virgin olive oils are even lower.
Right.
250 is the line from which, over it, an extra virgin can have a health claim report.
Right, okay.
So we're producing every year between 1,500 and 2,000 something, but in 2016 it was 2,366 milligram per kilo. For that reason, in order to come up with this result, it is necessary to combine tradition with technological innovation and scientific research.
Let's talk briefly about that record. I mean, I think the standard that Spyros said was about 250 phenolic compounds or something along those lines, and his 2016 batch had over 2,500. Just think about the level of work that would need to have gotten into, the standard for extra virgin olive oil is sitting around that 250 mark, and these guys are going well beyond that. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. Like you said earlier, it's hard work, but I guess it just goes to show that the quality of this stuff and how good it is and why it's healthy for you. And I'm just reading the back of the package as well. Olive oil polyphenols contribute to the protection of blood lipids from oxidative stress. So I guess it's a stress reliever, is what it's saying.
Just keep drinking more olive oil. Put it in everything.
Oh, I'm just so relaxed, Tom. Like I said, we've parked the Lazarus Ouzo.
Well, we've polished half this bottle, I reckon.
Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. That's good. Oh, dear.
Fantastic. This was really, really good chat. I'm envious I wasn't there with you.
We'll go back. We'll go together. And look, for those people listening to us, if you've been to Corfu or you're planning to go there, take some time out to visit the Governor Olive Mill in Agios Mattheos. It's absolutely fantastic. There's so much to learn. Aside from the village being beautiful as well, Spyro himself says it. It's virtually in the middle of nowhere, but it's doing such great work on the world stage when it comes to olive oil production.
We might have to plan a trip there, Tom.
I think so. We'll be going back. We'll go back together. We'll give Spyro a hand. Maybe we'll go and pick some olives or help him with the milling process, I reckon.
Yeah, actually, that would be fascinating. Hopefully you get to talk about how you make it in this episode.
Well, funny you should mention that, because that's what's coming up right now. So the process of milling and the difference between the Governor and how other people produce it.
My understanding is that you have a different way of actually, first of all, harvesting and pressing these particular olives that is different to the way that the majority of people on the island, the way that Mike Bethadov, for example, would go and would press his olive oil. So tell us a little bit about what that process is.
Here in Corfu and in Greece, but mainly in Corfu, we have a very big problem at the olive mills. The mills are working with many different producers,
yes,
and instead of the miller to give directions to the producers, unfortunately, most of the time the producers give directions to the millers. So one great problem has to do with the temperature. The temperature of the olive mills here that we're working with was extremely high. As a small boy, I remember many times producers coming on the mill, touching the malaxators, and say that the temperature was nearly 40 to 50. They say, this is cool,
Oh, right.
This is not too hot, and you have to watch it, otherwise we can go in another olive mill, because when the olive oil was produced, they used to say, it's not burning, it's okay. So I remember my father in 2002 installing a second boiler.
Okay.
Second boiler. So one main thing was the temperature. But everybody knows now that the high temperature in this procedure not only is not producing more olive oil, but it is like you fried the olive oil at the same time that the olive oil is being born.
So you're killing off the positive qualities of
everything inside. So the first year in 2010 we announced here to the producers that this year the mill is going to work with cold extraction. Tom, the next day the half of the producers left. Were gone.
Yep.
They just went to other olive mills. The half of them stay, with take the temperature a little bit, try a little bit higher, etc. So the next year we make a sign outside and say thank you so much for all these years, but it is the time to work alone. We didn't watch it with an optimistic point of view. We didn't want to throw the people away, but we realized that it was the time to get a space in which that we are going to work in an innovative way. We started, for instance, with about 2,000 olive trees as a family olive grove. At the moment, we farm nearly 12,000 olive trees, most of them here in the area of Agios Mateos. From the local variety, it was abundant olive trees. And in about 2 or 3 years, we tried to make them productive again and bring them back live. That for us, it's also a great, great duty. We started much earlier the harvest and production campaign. I mean, here in Corfu, usually they used to set the black nets from November, and sometimes they wait until May, until the olives fall alone. So here we start by the end of September, beginning of October, when olives are totally green and unripe.
Yes.
We continue in November, when olives are half green, half purple. It means they move from the first to the second stage of ripeness, and as soon as they become totally black, by the beginning or middle of December, immediately we stop the process. So we start.
So ripe is not good, or is that just not good for this particular
nature has its own balances.
Right.
It says that the best of quality you can take it at a very specific quantity, nothing more, nothing less.
Sure.
So we realize that for what we want to produce and offer, this is the best time period and the best ripe condition. And we stop when usually the rest of the island starts. We abandon the black plastic nets for reasons of use, but again for symbolic reasons.
Sure.
We say that if you just wait the olives to fall alone, you will never be able to control the quality. It's like, let me give you another example. It's like you have an orange tree, leave the oranges fall for 10 or 15 days, pick them up, eat them, or make juice. Do you ever go to pick them up, eat them from the ground, or make juice? Of course not. The same happens with the olive fruits. So we became the first company in Corfu and the third in Greece in 2010 that we introduced a shaker system in a tractor, a robot system which comes, grabs the main trunk or the main branches, uses a palm movement to the left or a palm movement to the right, and within 3 seconds throws down the 80 to 90% of the fruits. When we brought it here, the rest of the community used to say, it destroys the trees and is going to harm the trees, and do not take them in your olive estate, do not offer them your trees because it's going to be destroyed. First of all, before we brought it here, we visited Italy and Spain. We visited another producers. We saw the same machine working from the smallest to the biggest trees. Finally, we are working on the same trees the last 10 years, and only good things we've seen, because in the past, harvesting with some sticks or machines, lots of the olives are broken and damaged, and lots of the trees, because of the heat, are causing a kind of tumors, and the trees are getting sick. So, of course, we want to harvest, but at the same time we want to keep the source of everything as much as more on the best condition. But here we brought it because we're not talking about an ordinary olive grove with olive trees like lemon trees and all of them in lines for kilometers, or the same like clones in industrial way. Here we are talking about a kind of olive forest, and I want our audience to realize that the trees here, the oldest has trunks of about 8 or even 10 meters of total perimeter, 12 meters of height, or they're going even higher. So in order to control them, it was necessary to bring this machine, and we used some natural nets on the ground. We transport the olives not anymore in closed bags or sacks, but we bring them in open back trucks or open baskets, like the grapes, in order to be open air and breathe. And here we are working the same day milling technique. It means we harvest in the morning, we mill in maximum 2 or 3 hours. Right. And because of climate change, not exactly in September, but in October, the last years we are facing extremely high temperatures. So we are working very late at night, very early in the morning, and when we have big productivity and we need to work in the mid of the day, we also using some small freezing trucks that after the harvesting we are putting the olives inside there for these 2 or 3 hours, and then we bring them on the mill.
Sure.
And in the milling procedure, it is what I say on the beginning, except from many changes we did also in the production procedure, because many people just believe that it is a procedure that you just throw the olives, press a few buttons, and you get the olive oil. It's not like that. There are many issues. Somebody said, and he has absolutely right, that for instance, in contrast to the wine, in winemaking very important is the harvesting, the farming, the pressing, etc. But during the storage later, if you have some experience and knowledge, you can even improve or at least keep it stable.
Yes.
In olive oil production, you have only one chance to produce this product perfectly, and this is not the month, this is not the week, this is exactly the day of production. So imagine
in a matter of hours.
If we have 90 different days of production, harvesting and production, we have 90 small different chances to produce our product perfectly. And it is the most difficult time period of the year, because we are working nearly 18 hours per day, but at the same time it's the most beautiful time of the year for a producer, the most creative one. And if you ask me, Spyros, if you can imagine yourself, where would you have your position on this project? I would say, I'm an olive miller, and I'm proud of that. So my position is inside the mill. I love olive oil making. I love checking all the conditions, being just on the malaxator, smelling the olives after they get crushed, tasting the first drops, changing everything. This is the place where I feel
most at home.
Most at home and most creative. The olive oil, and I'm closing with this, it's like a puzzle game too. You have to add all pieces in the correct form, so finally to have a clear option on that. In Greek we call it eleopisi. Eleopisi. Eleopisi needs eleopites.
Right.
Okay.
Very good.
Eleopites, Nick. What do you think of that one?
Wow, it's a great word, and I'm sure you're going to tell me the meaning of it.
Well, let me tell you. So, eleo obviously meaning olive.
Olive, yep.
Pites meaning poet. So you're an olive poet.
Olive poet.
What do you think of that one?
Spyro the olive poet.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Imagine putting that on a business card.
Mate, this guy just gets better and better.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
But look, to put things into context for you, Nick, let me paint a little picture of how most people make their olive oil in Corfu, because Spyro obviously spoke about how he's going about it, but I think it's important for us to understand what the majority of people are doing. And I think it's probably representative of how a lot of people in Greece press their own olive oil. There's a system whereby the majority of people will throw down nets around their trees and basically wait for the olives to fall. By the time they get to them, after they've fallen, I mean, who knows how long they've been there? It could be weeks, it could be months, who knows? So basically you've got this mix of fruit that is often too ripe to mill, that's been sitting on the ground oxidizing for God knows how long.
Covered in ants and other bugs.
In leaves and twigs and all that sort of thing. When it comes time to pick all this stuff up, basically they just roll up the nets and just funnel them into like a Hessian sack or something along those lines. In most cases, in the case of Mike Bethero, he'll take it from that point directly to mill. In a lot of cases, though, they'll wait, maybe even a couple of days until they've got enough to mill, basically. So you've lost so much good stuff out of the olive, out of the fruit itself, by the time you get to the mill. And then by adding in that hot press technique, which again is the standard over there, you're killing it off even further. So in some way, what Spyro is talking about here, it's all the little 1%ers that he's changed to bring it to the point where he's producing a high phenolic olive oil. It's unbelievable.
It is, yeah. Oh, good summary, actually. Just, I don't know if I heard correctly. Did he say 3 hours? So from the moment they've picked the olives, they're in the mill within 3 hours, and they're getting pressed.
Yeah.
So we say pressed, so we're assuming it's the seed, it's the olive, it's everything.
Yes.
Just gets crushed into a paste.
Basically.
And then I guess that's how the olive oil is made. And
Correct.
And we said cold pressed and hot press. So do you know what the difference is?
Well, like we said before, so when...
Temperature-wise? Like, what's the cut-off point where it's considered cold and hot?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. But in layman's terms, as Spyros said in one of the earlier clips, the majority of people would, with the old style mill, would touch the boiler there and say, okay, it's about 40 degrees. That's too cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even at that point, that's far too hot to be able to retain any of the good nutrients or polyphenols, as we said earlier.
Yeah, so, that's what it is, isn't it? You burn the polyphenols, which means it becomes more acidity.
Acidic, yes. And that's how they measure the quality of olive oil over there. So, the oxytita, as everyone says, when you're over in Greece, it's a term that everyone becomes accustomed to when you start talking about olives over there. The lower the acidic level of the olive oil, the better it is. So, anything, that's generally under a 2.0 or, anything under that is considered amazing.
Yeah, well, I guess the power of the internet, Tom, we'll just had a quick look. Anything less than 0.8% is considered extra virgin olive oil. Anything above that is just considered olive oil.
There you go.
And cold press, it says here 28 degrees or less is considered cold press.
There you go.
Anything more, you tend to burn the fruit.
Yeah.
Therefore, destroy any polyphenols.
So, I mean, think about, those people, and I can just see them as well, like suggesting that 40 degrees isn't hot enough. I mean, obviously things have moved quite swiftly since then. And
well, I guess it just shows you his character. He's an innovator. Yeah. Him going against the norm and the villagers and saying, look, this is what we're doing now. He would have copped a lot of stick for doing that.
Well, think about the balls you need to have to tell your customers, your source of income as an olive mill. Sorry, guys, we're going it alone. It was a massive gamble made in the name of producing a better quality product, wasn't it?
Definitely, it was. Yeah, huge gamble. But it's paid off. Like you said, with his hard work and his research, it's paid off. And by the sounds of things, he changed the minds of a lot of the villagers now. I'm sure they're trying to copy what he's doing now. It's a bit like Retsina. All the villagers love their Retsina, but Greeks have got good quality wines. We've come a long way from Retsina, but they won't deviate. They're just going to stick with Retsina. And
that's what it looks like, doesn't it? Well, look, a byproduct of all of Spyros' hard work, obviously, and he alluded to it before, is the medical research that's happening, and he's about to talk about it now.
Tell us a little bit about the research that's been happening recently, and it's obviously something that you must be very proud of.
When in 2010, after the first year of experiments, we sent a sample of our olive oil in Athens at a certified lab. We were just very stressed in order to find out if this olive oil is extra virgin in terms of acidity.
Yes.
So the result that we received this year was completely disappointing.
Really?
I mean, from the other side, they told us, "Are you interested if your olive oil is extra virgin?" I say yes. I would say that it's not. And not only it's not extra virgin, but it's a bar quality of olive oil. And this is like I lost earth under my knees, and I say, so they have right, those who say that Corfu cannot produce olive oil or the Llanolia variety. And the answer was an answer that changed totally my mind. They told me, Mr. Dafnis, there are no magic tricks. The quality that you throw inside the mill with the gentlest methods, it's the quality of olive oil that you take back. And what we realized that yes, we started changing, but it's very difficult from one day to another to change the entire philosophy with which somebody was born and grew up with.
Yes.
So it means we did some changes, but for instance, the temperature from 70, 80 Celsius didn't went to 23 or 25. It went at 35, 36, something like that. We started early, But we didn't start in the beginning of October. We started by the end of November, beginning of December.
Okay.
We say the same day milling, but because we didn't have the same quantity, enough quantity, we say, let us mill it the next day. So next year, it was a year that we say, what we were educated on master milling courses, on farming seminars, this, okay.
That's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. Okay, let us go directly there. And this year we sent the olive oil to the same lab, and they call us back themselves. And the first thing is that they told us, first of all, is this olive oil from Corfu? From Lianolya? I say yes, you can find out in terms of organoleptic results. Okay, what you did? We say, totally different from what we did last year. Say, yes, I can find out. I say, I just ask, is it extra virgin? So, not only extra virgin, this is one of the best olive oils we ever test on this lab. And on this analysis, we find something unique. The polyphenols level. It was the first time we heard about polyphenols. We never knew what it was about. So the polyphenols level was about 50% over the space that the average of olive oils are analyzed. And we said, what are the polyphenols? They told us that are the most important ingredients can be found inside olive oil, having health promote action. So they told us this olive oil belongs at 0.01% of olive oils we analyzed with such a high concentration. So at the same time we made a small research, because except from the production community, Tom, we have to talk also about other Greeks that are succeeding and offering lots of this society in this world. So we find out that on the University of Athens, at the School of Pharmacy, Professor Prokopis Mayatis and Eleni Meliou started a great effort analyzing the polyphenols of olive oil and trying to expand to the customers and the consumers the real value of high phenolic olive oil. We make them a phone call, we came in touch. On the beginning, they didn't believe us that we are from Corfu. We just insisting to send a sample. They told us, okay, we think it's not necessary, but if you have a sample, send us. And then again, they called us alone. They told us again that it was one of the olive oils back in 2011, 2012. It was one of the olive oils, one of the few olive oils counted in the fingers of one hand that analyzed in such a high concentration. So we arranged a meeting directly on the university, and since then we have a great collaboration with scientific community, because Professor Prokopis Mayatis and Eleni Meliou established the World Olive Center for Health and Nutrition. Many scientists from all over the world involved at the moment. This center is based in Athens, and this is very important for the country. This center not only analyzes olive oils from Greece and all over the world, but established also a competition, the first competition in the world about high phenolic olive oils, and the first one took place at Ancient Olympia in Greece. We were the first golden awarded olive oil, and it was the year that we had the world record in phenolic content. And of course, and the most importantly, they also creating researches and connect producers with researchers around the beneficial properties of olive oil all over the world. So the last 6 years we already participated in 5 different scientific researches, once in Greece, 4 times in the United States. 2 of them are clinical trials against very serious diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, cancer cells, a specific type of breast cancer in labs called HCR2, or even lymphocytic leukemia. About lymphocytic leukemia, it was a clinical research that took place in Greece in collaboration with the University of Athens and the University of Sparta. It was completed, but as producers, because there is always a very strict and red line in everything that is connected with health, and we cannot overcome and pass it. We are able to announce only what is announced officially at international scientific papers. So on the beginning of 2022, we had the first advertisement at Frontiers in Oncology regarding this clinical trial that had great success. And because of this, and this is an information I'm giving for the first time at your
exclusive on Uzo Talk. Here we go.
We already keep the biggest quantity of olive oil we ever kept for clinical trial.
Wow.
And already went the previous month for United States. It will be the biggest multi-center research clinical trial, and I cannot say anything more. I hope and wish that everything will be fine. First of all, because health is not branding for us. Health and science is the source of our high responsibility. We hope that together we can unlock the health promote secrets and abilities of olive oil, and we can help as much as more people that can be helped.
Frontiers in oncology, clinical trials. These aren't things that you normally talk about when you're talking about olive oil, something that you're putting on your salad, right?
No, look, that was, wow, a lot to take in. Spyro, if you're listening though, we're happy to do some clinical trials here for you, mate. We've run out. So
Nick's got the wine glass out now. He's sipping on it. It's good stuff.
Even the bread, like normally you mop up the olive oil with one side of the bread. I'm on double side of the bread to get more olive oil on it. I love the stuff.
I mean, it's unbelievable that an olive oil is being looked at in such circles, in medical circles and in research circles. Do you believe that that's what we're talking about at this stage?
Yeah, look, it's becoming a medicine now. That's what it sounds like. He gave reference to cancer and Alzheimer's. Wow, I'd love to see the results of those studies if we ever get our hands on them. But it's like a medicine now. So we were having food for our health benefits, but this is more of a medicinal now, isn't it?
It seems like it, doesn't it? And I mean, you think about the reputation that Greek islanders have, for example. Not just Greek islanders, Greeks in general, but everyone keeps talking about places like Ikaria, for example, where people live to God knows how long, over 100.
Yeah.
One of the things that they keep talking about are the quality of the food that they're having. I suspect that all of this stuff is interrelated to some degree. The quality of the olive oil, whether it's cold pressed with the latest technology or not, would be playing some sort of role in all this, wouldn't it?
Definitely. And all nutritionists say that people should be focused on the Mediterranean diet. The basis of the Mediterranean diet is the olive oil. And this is a good example. So it's good to see that people are doing research and getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, and to find out why Greeks in general, or people from Ikaria, do live longer, and why the Mediterranean diet is so beneficial. So, look, good on the governor for Spyro for going to those lengths. And what did he say? He put a big batch of his oil to the side purely for research.
Yeah, so the largest allocation, basically, of olive oil that they've produced specifically for clinical research trial. It's unbelievable. One of the main things that I took out of that as well is what Spyro was saying. Effectively, you only get out what you put in. You're not going to get anything more than what you actually put in. And the attitude of that's good enough just doesn't cut it if you're trying to create a really good product. Yeah,
definitely. Look, it does sound very inspiring, and I'm actually really looking forward to going and meeting him face to face. You've had the pleasure of doing it, but I think we're going to have to do a tour of his olive grove.
Spyro, I think Nick's dropping a few hints here. He's dropped it a few times now.
Spyro, hint, nudge, nudge.
Good stuff. Well, sort of in the same vein as all that, I mean, one of the buzz terms that we talk about all the time in this day and age is the whole notion of organic. And Spyro has a bit of a take on that as well.
High phenolic olive oils is considered as beyond organic and beyond extra virgin olive oils, because the most of them are organic olive oils, and of course the most of them are premium olive oils in terms of very low acidity and great organoleptic panel. Organic means, and of course I believe that organic is the future, and we will try our best from now on also to transform everything around us in an exclusive organic zone. It's a great effort, but we need to come in touch also with the local authorities in order to pass it as a philosophy. But organic means a product which is produced on a way that is not going to harm your health.
Yes.
Organic was the answer to the food industry that produces products with no responsibility. High phenolic olive oil is not only a product, an olive oil that cannot harm your health, but a product that can improve your health. So this is another difference. Here we are talking about high phenolic olive oil. This is the future in olive oil, and this is what we're trying to spread the rest of the world.
Spyros kind of summed it up to some degree by saying, you only get out what you put into the product. Whatever you put into your body as well is very important, isn't it? I mean, eating organic and eating well, eating right is such an important thing in this day and age, isn't it, Nick?
It is, definitely. And look, our ancestors have been doing it for so long, and again, it's no secret why people in Ikaria and all these islands that live long, it's because they do put good quality organic food in their bodies.
Yeah, and it's important to mention at this point as well, other parts of Greece. I mean, we're talking specifically about a producer and an olive mill in Corfu right now, but as Spyros said himself, until recently, Corfu was not in the mix when it came to high-quality olive oil. There are places like Kalamata, for example, that are so well known for their olives, aren't they, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. A good point you made, Tom. So not all olives are good to make olive oil out of it. Some olives are good for eating, such as the Kalamata olive. It's one of the best in the world, for eating. Also, there's Amphissa. There's all these other brands as well that we've got out there, but they've got a PDO rating as well, the Protected Designation of Origin. So it's a EU mechanism.
Which a lot of the wines that we spoke about in the wine episode too are under as well. Yeah, so these particular products are recognized for being produced by a particular area and are unique to that particular area as well. It's a great vote of confidence for the level of the quality of the produce that Greece is producing.
And look, even the Peloponnese, they've been harvesting olives there for thousands of years, and they still do today, and it's all good quality as well. So look, Corfu's a great example, and we've got the luxury of talking to a olive producer firsthand, but I'm sure what Spyros saying that there's other olive producers out there could have similar stories as well.
I bet you could talk to any of the producers in Greece who are producing extra virgin olive oil, and they would be every bit as passionate as what Spyros is, and that's what we really need, isn't it? I think it's a combination of that passion that people have for the product, number one, branding it really well, packaging it up really well, and talking often about the benefits of using this particular product because, like we said before, it's liquid gold. It
is. And look, Spyros gone to the next level. He's going to the States and getting it assessed. And most Greeks in villages wouldn't do that. They just do it for their local community and that's it. They wouldn't bother.
Which is important as well, obviously.
It is, yeah. And they've been doing it for centuries, as we know. But Spyros gone to the next level. He's actually trying to find out why it's good for us. We will know it's good for us, but he's getting to the next level of it all. So they've had, 1,000-year-old trees in Corfu, was saying. Peloponnese have had the same. Even Crete, I think I read the other day, that the oldest olive trees in Crete, which is 3,000 years old?
3,000 odd years old. And there's regular, I've seen articles about that particular tree go up a fair bit, actually. I mean, 3,000 years old. Can you believe? I mean, that tree, the generations that it's fed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so thick. Like, you probably need 3 or 4 people to link arms to get to around the base of that tree. It's massive. Isn't it funny? Somehow Crete always comes into our episodes, Tom. Hey, what's going on here?
It's the Nick Andriatakis effect.
Yeah, I think so.
He's taken over.
Oh dear. Next thing we know, we'll be calling it Tikudia talk.
Yeah. We'll be talking like him as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, the future also seems bright for the governor, as it does in general olive oil production in Greece. Let's see what Spyros has to say about the future for the governor.
What does the future hold right now for the governor and for yourself now? Obviously, you started the tours here where we're sitting in a space where people from a lot of places from around the world come and actually try some of the oil and are taught about it. I saw a group of German tourists come through just as I came through. Is there an expansion of that, do you believe? Is this the right size? Is the governor destined to to become even bigger than what it is right now? Or is it all about, it's about these trees, it's about this grove, and it's about just producing that quality product?
Before 2010, there was no extra virgin olive oil from Yanolya of Corfu. We achieved it. Before 2010, you could not imagine an awarded Corfu olive oil. We achieved it. Before 2010, you could not even believe that a local product of olive oil can travel abroad outside the small borders of Corfu. We went out of the small borders of Greece. Of course, participating in scientific research was not even in our mind. Who could believe that I'm gonna count 2019, because 2019 was the last, before Corona times, the last tourism season in Greece. Okay, who could believe that an olive mill in the middle of nowhere, and I'm gonna explain you what I mean, in Agios Mateos, I mean no close to Paleokastritsa, no close to Achilleo, no close to Corfu town, okay, could receive and welcome nearly 10,000 unique visitors from all over the world. But that means we are moving on the right way. Of course, the most of the people, of our visitors, are coming here in order to find out where it is produced, what they use abroad, because the most of them already read some scientific papers, recognitions from our awards, etc. But the idea of Corfu Olive Tours, as I said before, is first of all to bring the locals and the young community here, and secondly to transform an alive olive oil production unit into a small olive oil school.
Yes.
Trying to educate and introduce into the amazing world of olive oil people from all over the world. Because consumers can watch a product on the shelf, but all the magic happens just behind. So we make a trip on time from the past to the present, and from the present to the future of olive oil. People coming here by their own cars or the public transportation. We also have our olive van. We also make some pickup. We start from our museum area. We show them how the olive oil was produced in the past, how our ancestors survived by producing olive oil. We are moving at the modern olive mill. We show them how an extra virgin olive oil is produced in our days. What are the secrets of producing a premium line of olive oil like the Gavril? And then we are using one of the two first olive oil tasting halls in Corfu and one of the first in Greece that we are standing, and we're trying to educate them through a full olive oil tasting seminar, how they can recognize as consumers a high quality from a non-high quality, an extra virgin from a non-extra virgin olive oil. And of course, after here, we take the van, we make a nice ride and walk at the monument olive trees, at the Byzantine castle of Ardiki, and also the beautiful Coricion lagoon.
Tom, I can see you driving that olive van for Spyro one day.
You think that's in my future?
Yes. Yeah, wow, that was fascinating. Yeah, I can actually. Yeah, you get heading back to Corfu, driving the olive van, driving everyone around.
It's in the family, tourists. Mate. I'm telling you, we used to do that. My family was producing it at one stage. Yeah, in high volumes.
And how close are you to Spyro, your family? Did you touch on this?
So we're from basically the villages next door to each other.
Wow.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, and how far are the villages?
Not far at all, mate. It's pretty close.
Stone's throw.
Pretty much.
Well, how fascinating was it? He said he's getting 10,000 visitors now per year.
Yeah, I mean, can you believe that? I mean, he said it himself. This is in the middle of nowhere, effectively, in the middle of this island, where tourists don't normally come. It's not particularly close to a beach. It's not close to the tourist centres of the island. It's off the beaten track, and people are going there to learn about olive oil and how it's produced and to see what's what. And in the same way that, to use an Australian example, people go to the Hunter Valley to try the wines that are, and there are some amazing wines here, to try those wines there at cellar doors. Effectively, what the Governor Olive Mill has done is done like a cellar door for olive oil tasting. It's a fantastic experience that I think people need to try out.
It sounds it. So, 10,000 to a village in the middle of nowhere where no one would visit.
Yeah.
I wonder if any scientists would go there, because it sounds like it's more than just the olive oil and it's all about the health benefits. I guess people going in to see how the hell he's doing it.
I think sometime in the future there'll be people going in, to do things like testing the soil and to see what's going on there. But in the same way that we've discussed up until now, it's also about the production methods and, looking at how these guys are, actually doing it. And obviously, based on what Spyros saying, those labs in Athens have only the highest things to say about this particular production, don't they?
Definitely, yeah. Sounds like he's got the formula or the method down pat now.
So look, Nick, you and I have obviously tried this now. We've spoken a little bit about it. It's a fantastic olive oil. It's my favourite. Non-surprisingly, and I'm biased. Let's just call a spade a spade. I'm biased about this type of stuff.
Sure you are.
Completely objectively, it tastes fresh. You had a really good example when you tried it. It's like the smell of fresh cut grass that people like, the good side of that freshness is there somehow. Obviously, when sitting down with Spyros, we ate some together, and here's the stuff that he had to say about it as we were about to do that.
Let's just look at it from a taste perspective.
Okay, before we taste, let me tell you something that we used to say at most of our visitors here. We used to tell them that whenever you taste an authentic Corfu olive oil, is like tasting Corfu itself.
Okay.
So this is Corfu, the 4.5 million olive trees from the north to the south and the west to the east. A little bit spicy experience.
Yes.
You will discover the reason why, but at least you know it's good for your health.
Of course.
I already had some olive oil from the Governor Limited Edition.
Yes. Beautiful color.
All our product range is it is described as early harvest, but this specific one is what we call in Greece protolado. So proto means first, ladi means olive oil. So this is the first olive oil produced every season in Corfu.
Yes.
And this is the first olive oil that we are producing at the Governor's Olive Mill. It is limited edition for two reasons. First of all, because we have a very short time period for harvesting and production, nearly 15 days in total, by the end of September, beginning of October. But through those 15 days, sometimes the weather is good, sometimes not. But olives are waiting for us. And sometimes, some years the productivity is extremely high, some others the productivity is lower. So there are many issues to come up on this, on the quantity result. The second reason why it is limited edition has to do with the polyphenols. All our product range is again described and considered as high phenolic olive oils, but this is what we are producing at the highest volumes and the highest concentrations of oleocanthal and oleacin, which are strong natural antioxidant and anti-inflammatory ingredients, both of them responsible for numerous of pharmacological and biological properties. For the tasting, we usually use the blue glasses. These glasses are officially authorized by the International Olive Council in Madrid and participate in every international competition all over the world. It is blue because we are in Greece. Of course, I'm joking. It is blue, but it's a great combination. It is blue because the biggest mistake and misunderstanding in olive oil tasting has to do with the color.
Okay.
So most of the people believe, well, it is fascinating, but they believe that the color is connected with the quality. This is not truth at all. Color is not connected with quality, and quality not connected, not translated in color. So the color is just a result of the ripe condition of the fruit, and sometimes it is a result of the variety. Of course, we are able to get some interesting information from the option of the olive oil and the product at all, but we cannot find out if it is extra virgin or not. And later, these glasses are made by very thin material and by a very specific shape, because after we add some olive oil inside, we are not directly smell it or taste it, but with one hand we cover it from the top, trying not to allow the aromas and flavors to leave, not to allow the oxygen to come inside, and with the other hand for about a minute we are trying to warm it up from the bottom.
Okay.
So the olive oil to open somehow and extract better aromas and flavors.
So it's somewhat similar to what they do with wine.
With wine, yes.
Okay,
yes,
very
yes,
interesting.
Yes. And of course, after that, we take a deep breath. We get the fruitiness in the nose and the mouth. The fruitiness, which is the taste identity of the variety. Every single variety has a unique aromatic identity, and that's the beauty of olive oil. While on the same time, it is very important because it works and acts like the mirror of the whole process before. So by the fruitiness, we are able to find out if the olives we use for this olive oil were fresh, healthy, and on the correct ripe condition, and if the process from the harvesting, the transportation, the milling, and even the storage was such a gentle to extract everything good that could be extracted from as an olive juice. We have on this olive oil a bitter sense in the back of our tongue, and a spicy sense on the beginning of our throat.
Okay.
Many people, this is another big misunderstanding. Many people believe that bitterness and spicy are defects. They don't like them, and most of the time rejects the olive oil. While the truth, although, is completely the opposite, and says that as much as bitter, as much as spicy an olive oil is, as much as better it is.
Okay.
Because bitterness and spicy not only connected with the quality, but mainly are connected with our health. Not only at the governor, but in every olive oil we taste, bitterness is translated and connected inside olive oil with a concentration of a specific phenol that we call oleacin, and is a strong natural antioxidant, while the burning sense in our throat, the spicy sense, is translated and connected with another specific and even more important phenol that we call oleocanthal, and is a strong natural anti-inflammatory ingredient.
We need a lot more of that in our lives.
Probably yes. It was discovered in the end of 90s by an American scientist called Gary Beecham, who did some researches around ibuprofen. And pay attention on this phenol because it is the most important phenol ever discovered in olive oil. It is the reason why, the main reason why the last 15 years the olive oil is so much related and connected in scientific research against such a serious diseases like the ones I described before. So whenever we test an olive oil, in order to be extra virgin, is necessary to find inside. We found all the three tastes: fruitiness, bitterness, and spicy. Better olive oil is the olive oil in which we're able to find all the three tastes, but in somehow balance, what we call harmony.
Yes.
And of course, the third part we check is the intense, and the intense is how strong the olive oil is in the nose. We can check it with the distance between the glass and the point, the position that our nose even slightly starts catching up the first aromas and flavors. You are a Greek.
Yes.
So the best way for a Greek to taste and test an olive oil is with some bread.
Of course.
Feta cheese produced here in Corfu by the Corfu Creamery Papous in Yanades, along with Graviera. The small tomatoes from my grandpa's kindergarten.
Okay.
You know, in this country, on the traditional cafes in Cafenio, they used to fight for 3 reasons: politics, left and right, football, Olympiakos Panathinaikos, and tomatoes, who is producing the best in town. So, tomatoes and some olives.
Nick, are those the only 3 things that we fight over as Greeks, you reckon?
How funny was that, Tom? That's what I picked up too. Football, politics, and who's got the best tomatoes. I can so see that.
Yeah.
Eh?
Look, we've spoken about it a lot. I mean, we said it on the last episode. We've said it on other episodes too. The quality of the tomatoes over there are unbelievable. So if we've been banging on about the quality of the tomatoes, just have a think about how good the olive oil is as well.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. If they're going to be fighting and arguing over the tomatoes, it's only going to be good quality. The consumer's going to benefit, especially if 2 parties are at war with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, he summed it up perfectly, you know, the feta cheese, the bread, the tomato. That's what we're missing, actually. So, so we got the bread, we got the olive. We need some tomatoes from Greece and some feta, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. Really good. Really good. And the blue glass as well.
Yeah, these blue glasses are almost like a brandy glass to some degree. I mean, they're really small though, and as Spyros said, they're quite thin in the way that they're made, but they're perfect apparently for tasting and reviewing olive oil.
There you go. Yeah, you mentioned the fruitiness, bitterness, and spicy. So yeah,
And you get all of that with this particular olive oil. I mean, Nick, you and I have had long discussions about some of the most mundane things when it comes to our Greek culture and traditions and products and whatnot. I mean, this is just another example of why, number one, we're proud to be Greek. And number two, why, when we're together, why Greece dominates our discussions.
it does. Yeah, look, what a topic. And, like we've said earlier, even before we started our podcast, this is some of the stuff we'd debate over. We'd walk up and down the beach, debate, and we're a bit like those tomato farmers, debating about which olive oil was better and why it's better and so forth.
Yeah.
But look, I think we agree on one thing, that the governor does take the cake in this case.
And yeah, look, also important to remind that Greece is filled with fantastic producers, not just of olive oil, but olives themselves, feta cheese as well that we've mentioned on a number of occasions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's great products out there. And I think the message that we really need to get across is that if Greece is producing something that's good or has a designated point of origin label on it, support it. Recently there were things about Danish feta, for example. We shouldn't be buying Danish feta. We shouldn't be buying Bulgarian feta. The Greek product is the original. The Greek product is the best by far. We should be supporting it, shouldn't we?
Definitely, yeah. Well said, Tom. Very good. I've got a side note question for you. I don't know, we may have discussed this earlier. So it's more about the olive oil. How do you preserve it? So I understand light, air, temperature has something to do with the flavour. So when we buy it in 4 litre drums.
Yep.
Did you mention to Spyro, or are you aware what's the best way to store olive oil?
The only thing that I can be certain of is to keep it away from heat. That definitely plays a role, in the quality of it, in the taste, and its long-term preservation. I'm sure there's preventative measures that you can take. Just based on what Spyro's been talking about, I would treat it like a wine.
Cool place, away from heat, away from light. Makes sense.
That's probably the safest way to go about it.
Yeah, wow. Fascinating stuff, mate.
Look, I've really enjoyed reliving this discussion. What did you think of it in total?
I loved it. I love the fact that we can sit there and talk about such a great product. We can taste it, we can smell it, and we're sitting at a table and drinking ouzo at the same time. Love it. Fantastic.
Well, look, we might give Spyro the last word before we wrap everything up. ouzotalk@outlook.com is the email. @ouzotalk on most social media platforms, and @ouzo_talk for Instagram. Nick, obviously we'll be back to do this again very soon for another episode, but let's just go back to Spyro to wrap it all up.
And I just want the last word, Tom. The olives in Kalamata are better than bread and butter.
I knew that was coming somewhere.
Adios.
Dear, let's go to Spyro.
We, the Greeks, we live inside the country. We respect a lot all of you who lives abroad. And I believe that you are from a position watching your country from outside. And this helps us a lot. Tom, on my 30s, I still believe that those who say that όπου και αν πάμε η Ελλάδα μας πληγώνει καμιά φορά. Through the difficulties, the problems we face here, but we shall never forget that Greece is mother of all of us. And mainly on the most difficult times, as a good kids, we have to stand by her. So we are doing a great effort from inside and from outside.
Yes.
And we need to expand the most beautiful, the most positive, the most creative part of this beautiful part of the world, of Greece, everywhere. So you're doing an excellent job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
For your podcast, for Ouzo Talk.
Thank you very much, Spyro. In the meantime, thank you very much for being on Ouzo Talk, and we hope to see you again very soon.
It was great pleasure for me. You still have an open invitation to come and meet us whenever you like. And I hope once I have the chance to meet you also in Australia. Who knows?
Let's hope so.
Perhaps I will be for an exhibition, for an olive oil tasting, for a project that we can create there.
Thank you, Spyro.
Thank you so much. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Thank you.
ακολουθήστε μας στο Soundees, στο Spotify, στο Apple Podcasts και στο Google Podcasts.